catching the ball, his responsibilities, and how good a position player he is when he's
Yeah, sometimes he's a good decoy, or he's he's always hustling, trying to get somebody blocking him downfield. And I say it a lot about him. To me, that's what makes him, to me, such a great player, is his competitiveness, and it shows up even when he doesn't have the ball. He's going down there trying to knock somebody down and stay involved in the play.
Someone came up today with a picture of the '85 game, OU Texas. Switchers on the sideline wearing a Beat Texas cap. Any chance we'll get you to wear one Saturday?
You know, Coach Switzer had a lot more flair than I have, so he might have had a cigarette in too. So I'm sure he doesn't mind I said that. In fact, I got a request in to get that picture of him on the sideline with one. So anyway, hey, Coach, he could get away with that. I don't know if that's my style.
Yesterday you were talking about, I asked you about young quarterbacks getting them ready for this game. You've got a lot of young kids like Kenny Stills. Texas has a lot of youngsters. Is it the same thing? You tell them, don't make this game too much.
Well, yeah, it's you can work yourself into a frenzy, but in the end, that doesn't cut it. It's being prepared and it's executing when you get the opportunity, and so to me, it's just really engross yourself in the process of being prepared to play, and then the play will take care of itself if you're ready for it. So yeah, you have to manage it properly.
How important are your guys at the
No, not really.
How important are your guys that have played this game to speaking to your guys who have not played this game?
Well, it's always experience matters, so I'm sure some of the older players can echo what we're saying, and being prepared to play and keep it in perspective.
Bob, normally you would look at a roster and see a team has so many true freshmen playing in prominent roles, and you have cause for concern. But the way these guys have played, I'm guessing that's not tantamount on your mind.
No, I mean Tony Jefferson was our defensive player of the game the other day. He played great, and Kenny Stills had a big night. Consistently is getting better and better. Trey Millard couldn't be better in my eyes. He'll get better just because he gets bigger and stronger, but he's already has size and toughness and does well. And Aaron Colvin has been consistent. I've talked about him since the first week of camp, and it's consistently that way. So these guys have been solid players, and they're only going to get better.
How much is those first-time starters playing on the road last week help them going on the road this week?
I would imagine it'll help them to agree, but they're going on the road this week. Only 50% of it's away and 50% of it's home, so it's a little different than last week. So we only had about 10% last week. So in this one, it's the same for both teams.
You and Mac both have gotten involved a little bit on the aging type issues and other hot button topics. Do you guys have much of a relationship in the off season?
No, we don't have much opportunity to have one, to be honest with you. I don't, none of us do. We're all working our jobs and our families, and in the end, so there isn't that much opportunity to have any kind of relationship off the field.
Bob, don't you run a different style of running the football versus what UCLA did? Looked like they did more north and south.
Well, in some ways, yes. In some ways, no. We've always, I don't know if you've watched us, we come north and south as well. We were under center, I would say probably as much as we're not. So, so again, I don't know what your perspective is, but obviously we're not the same as UCLA. Everybody has their different ways of doing things, but we go north and south some too.
If you need a 45-yard field goal, win or tie at the end of the game, how confident would you be in sending Stevens outside?
Is it with the wind or against?
Swirling.
I'll have to see how the ribbons are blowing up there on the goalpost. But Jimmy made some big kicks the other night at the end of the half, and then the one that put us up 9, even though it's an extra point, you've seen other guys miss those. So anyway, he did the job the other night.
Fair to say you feel more confident in him or your kickers in general than you did before the season started?
Definitely. He's done a nice job in the last couple of games.
What's been your biggest play when Boyles was a decoy?
any run game that we have, you always have the opportunity to throw him the bubble, or you shoot him across the formation in some kind of fake jet where he can be distracting, or somebody has to adjust to him.
That's what the biggest help is like.
Or sometimes he can draw, he can draw double coverage, which leaves somebody one-on-one somewhere else. He did well. Trey has really been encouraging. I'm really getting more and more excited about his consistency, and because he's a guy that can really run. And last week he made a few nice plays, and so we're more and more confident having him on the field, and he gives you a good burst of speed.
Could you give us your opinion where you are with Wirt in the middle, because he makes some hard hits, but it seems he's out of place some and misses tackles?
I would say that's a little bit true. He overall he had a good game the other night. He did miss a player or two, but sometimes when you see he's maybe missed a tackle, he's covering for someone else who's out of place, and he's kind of recovering back for them. So it's not always what it appears to be. But Tom is, like a lot of young guys, is growing into position, getting better, and overall has done a good job. But it needs to improve? Sure. But I think it will too.
How much do you pay attention to the statistics, and doesn't it bother you when you see your defensive stats?
Sure, absolutely. And we're very aware of it. But we've had these issues in the past, and as we go through, a lot of times we've corrected them and made improvement as we've gone, and I believe we can.
Playing such a complete game, I guess 3 weeks ago against Florida State.
But I'm sorry, but
I'm
in
sorry.
statistics too, sometimes are a little bit deceiving. Florida State, their statistics look really good, and they got really good in the last drive or two against the twos. So at times, now I'm not at all taking away the shots that the ones we can be better at, but I'm a little hesitant sometimes to just look at statistics. But I'm sorry, Clay.
Playing such a complete game 3 weeks ago against Florida State, does that seem forever ago, or does it seem like you're very close to playing that kind of game again? I mean,
it does seem like a while ago, but we're very aware of how we did it and what we need to do. The style of offenses we have played in the last couple of weeks are different. And a decent part of the games, we played them fairly well. And then in the fourth quarter, we didn't. So it gives me, I'm encouraged that, yeah, we can do it. And I know what we're capable of. And again, Texas is a more traditional style of offense. I think that we're maybe a little more used to seeing. So hopefully we can play better.
coaches will often talk about how being very close can appear so far away. If you're just a little off a lot of places, you're way off. Does it feel like that? You're like,
Yeah, I think definitely we're not far off, and again, I've seen us do it. You look at what Florida State's done lately. They haven't played very poorly. They've played pretty well, and again, so I'm confident that we'll nail some things down this week, improve at it, and hopefully play better.
Is your problem on defense and mental in the case of Air Force? You scored 17 straight, looked like you got it in control. They come back on you. Other night, 24-9, looked like you got it in control.
A little bit. But I think that's an excuse, but it's a poor one to me in my eyes. We've talked about that. If that's the case, they get to feeling comfortable. Now we're good, and that's a pure setup to get for someone to come back. And so it could be some of that, and then it gets down to our execution, of being able to still come up with the stops like we had been for 2 and 3 quarters.
Does this game still feel fun?
Absolutely. How can it not be?
Because you get a lot of attention, a lot of outside.
I don't care about this. It couldn't be better. This is as good as it gets.
Is it the most fun on the schedule?
Sure. Until you get to a championship game, then that becomes more fun.
do you settle into playing your role in the rivalry? I mean, I can see where maybe your first few years you were getting used to the hoopla. Now you know it, and it's, to some extent you can see and appreciate what it's all about. Did it take long to get to that point?
No, I've always appreciated the hoopla around it. Not that I care about it, but for everyone else, I mean, that's what fans and everybody loves. And let's face it too. Overall, it puts your university in theirs in front of everyone's eyes for a full week, and that's positive. I think for the university, for the programs, and for college football. So I appreciate all of that. The universities, what they stand for, college football, and so it's. It's fun and exciting, and it's a positive, I think, and for all those reasons.
Bob, do you think the winner of this is a team, or maybe both of them, that is really a national caliber in terms of playing for a BCS-type title? Because you have in the past, one of the schools.
Yeah, well, there's always that chance, but again, there's such a huge body of work left that this game, so much of the time, I know everyone wants to act like this is the end-all, and it's far from it. This game without the rest of them is pretty shallow. You need, the next, what are they, 7 coming, or 7 or 8. If you win 7, then you got the Big 12 championship, and then, so to me, it's a big step, but it's surely not the end all.
Let me ask you, there was been talk with the Big 12 going to 10 teams that maybe they would need, but there's no plan to make this game the last game of the season. Would you be for that?
I doubt that they'd move the state fair to the last game of the season, so I don't see that happening. And I think everybody has their routine down for how many years has it been? Anyone know? Since 1929, so I don't see that happening, but and I surely wouldn't be the one promoting it. I'd rather keep my job for a while and try and change when the OU Texas game is. Good? All right.